Dang. I forgot it wasn't the proper song. I didn't have time to switch it. Well, I didn't even think about switching it. So, what's up, Glenn? We're live now.
If you don't think about switching it, you're probably not going to.
Yes, welcome to the People's Weekly. Yeah, I thought it shocked me when this song played. I was waiting for the Doorbell at Jimmy's House song. Oh, I gotta load that because we changed, for anyone that doesn't know, we changed the setup because things weren't working right, and last week was the first week they actually worked right. And in the last minute rush, I threw in any random song that was in here, so I gotta switch the new song or the old song into here. So what's up, Glenn?
And we're also back to the way it used to be. I can't hear fuck all.
Yeah, he can't hear the audio that plays other than me.
Oh well. Oh well.
Oh well. Yeah, you can listen back. It's just this song that goes
Okay.
Oh man.
I'll take your word for it.
So yeah, how's Canada now that the Nazi truckers have been removed?
Well, in some cities, they're still getting together so they can, pretend that they're important on the weekends in some cities across Canada. But most of the people involved with the fundraising are still being held in jail. They haven't even been, all of them haven't even had their bail hearings concluded yet. Most of them have. Those who are still in jail got denied bail, plain and simple, So, tough shit.
What kind of charges and time do you think they're looking at?
Well, of course, it's the same old catchphrase, stay tuned, more charges as investigation continues. But for now, it's pretty, it's pretty benign stuff. Nobody that's still in jail from Ottawa has any weapons charges from Ottawa. So, I mean, in Canada, if you have firearm charges, you're going to jail. That's pretty much all there is to it. They don't have them. What they do have is mischief, conspiracy to commit, all kinds of different shit. There's also civil issues, especially with all this money being raised and then the different lawsuits being filed against this protest, this convoy, Freedom Convoy 2022 is apparently...
That's brutal. I mean, you could raid the U.S. Capitol and not get charges like that.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. But the biggest thing that has happened is there has been an official, I'm not even sure what it is. I think it's an injunction from the Superior Court of Ontario, which has legally put a freeze on the 10 million plus in the Give, Send, Go fundraiser. And the purpose of that is because it is being declared an asset, more or less. So there is a $306 million lawsuit against the convoy that was filed by citizens of Ottawa. and small businesses of Ottawa. So what this is turning out to look like is that seized fundraiser could end up going to the people in this lawsuit in Ottawa who were occupied. So it's a start.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not supposed to be able to fundraise for criminal activities
Exactly.
on
But
the private platforms anyway.
I mean, that's exactly why GoFundMe got out of the game. You know, they just said, okay, no, fuck it. Doesn't matter how much of our own money we're throwing away, but we're returning this entire thing. We want nothing to do with it. Legal said divest, so we're divesting. Fuck this. But over on Grift Send Gone, you know, they don't seem to have that issue.
Yeah. Well, now we got some copycat Nazis out here doing the same thing.
Yep.
Well, attempting to do the same thing. They're really unorganized, but they did pick up some steam in the last couple of days because they've been going across getting more fascists to jump on. They got like every group from neo-Nazis to MAGAs all supporting this.
And shit like this is just perfect for mainstream media because it's a drama, just like a movie. It's like a movie of the week. As it rolls along, it gains more momentum and more tension. You know, it's ridiculous. Because if these clowns amount to anything, there's only so many ways into DC. And look where they're going to be going through as they get close. So yeah, it could get rather interesting if they get that far.
I don't know. I know whenever fascists, quote unquote, protest or rally or do whatever they do, they get full support. Like there's rarely a line too far. The pigs support them. The feds support them. I mean, until they have to arrest them for stuff and they give them little light sentences.
But the biggest difference now is that the occupant of the White House does not support them. That's the biggest difference. And discipline starts at the top. So
I don't know why they're all white supremacists, him included.
Yeah, but they're not his white supremacists.
Yeah, Biden's the the Democrats always say, "Oh, they said the quiet part out loud." So that means you think the quiet part, just don't say it, and that makes you less racist?
Legally, yes.
Oh man.
That's how that works.
Yeah, it's just two factions of white supremacist fascists. And they're not Biden's faction. So maybe, I don't know, we'll see.
Well, that's just it. It's political. Everything just, I mean, this is the biggest thing about this so-called convoy up here. It started, all the public relations bullshit was about trucker vaccine mandates. But then as it moved across Canada, if you went to any of these events, all you saw were flags that said, fuck Trudeau. You saw stuff about anti-abortion, anti-Islam, anti-homophobic, but yet when they talked, they said it's about vaccine mandates. No, it wasn't. It never was.
I've noticed, at least here in the United States, whenever it comes to anti-vaxxers, you get all those groups mixed in, all the hate groups, the religious groups. They all jump the bandwagon. I think, anti-vax, anti-mask is just a banner for all the hate groups to jump behind.
Yep. It's the outrage of the week.
Because, they have all the same anti-everything else signs out there.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. Well, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but here in the United States, all of a sudden, well, I mean, you know, the whole thing in Russia, Ukraine going on right now. But all of a sudden, all these Democrats want war, 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 war. And these same people that I think I said this on Twitter before my account went down. I don't know what's up with my account. They didn't send me saying anything. It was suspended, but it's obviously suspended because I can't do anything on it. But whatever, that's beside the point. All these people are like, oh man, we got to find places for these Ukrainian refugees. I mean, isn't that what the concentration camps are for? Why not put them there? What would be different about Ukrainian refugees rather than South or Central American refugees or Haitian refugees that are in concentration camps on our borders and in our other cities? Why can't we throw Ukrainians and their children in concentration camps too? I don't know what the difference is, Glenn.
Well, I can't quite put my finger on it.
Yeah.
God willing.
It's not the white thing to do.
You know, I said that on Twitter the other day too. It's, you know, the only thing that really matters, there's 3 boxes that have to be checked. And it doesn't matter if you check the other 20. If you don't check these 3 boxes, forget it. And that being said, if you check only these 3 boxes and none of the other 20, that's still good enough. And those 3 boxes are race, religion, and common enemy. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. It's really disgusting to see this. There's people like, I would open up my home in a second for these wonderful Ukrainian refugees. You got houseless people down the street from your house. You're not opening your home to them. You got immigrants in detention centers or concentration camps, as they actually are. You're not opening your home for them. But
Yep.
These white Christian refugees, let them in. We'll take them in with open arms. These people, at least a third of them, for sure, just like here, are fascist, Nazi, white supremacist scum. So what you're doing is you're bringing a whole new brand of terrorist over here, is my opinion. Or at least you're rolling the dice and got a possibility that some of these people are going to be just like the MAGAs, just like what we have here already.
Well, I mean, this is the same old bullshit though, right? I mean, this is people being very loud, passing off an opinion that have zero background. I mean, basically, to be polite, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You know, because if you want to go by that metric, maybe take a look around at some documentaries of what Ukrainian cities can be like. Like maybe take a look at the ultras for Shakhtar Donetsk, which is a soccer club in Donetsk.
Oh, yeah.
These guys are a fucking armed gang. And
White
they're all
supremacist
white.
gang, yeah.
Yeah, and they're all white. And they all go to church. And they're all polite to the white ladies. So is this the type of person that you're quite willing to bring over? You know,
Of course it is. They're sending their best because they're white, right?
And also, there's been a fair amount starting to hit the news. We hear about all these trains with people leaving Ukraine and going to Poland, especially.
Yeah.
And now we're hearing a lot of stories about anybody who's not white is getting kicked off these trains.
Yeah, a bunch of Africans got kicked off those trains.
Yep.
Was it yesterday or the day before?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. You're just supporting a white supremacist regime. And then I saw somebody on Twitter, I don't know, it was yesterday or the day before, when my account was working, said, if you believe that that Ukrainians are Nazis, you've fallen for Russian propaganda. Congratulations.
Okay.
Yeah, that just blew my mind. These people are all in. They're all in with it. Bring their Nazis over here. Oh, and they said because their president himself is Jewish and has ancestors that survived the Holocaust. And I'm like, have you heard of occupied Palestine?
Well, first of all, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, the North American audience is so fucking stupid to begin with, because anybody who's Jewish in Europe and they're 45 years old or older has relatives who obviously survived the Holocaust. So it's not that big a thing over there. Here it is. There it's not. Still. So, I mean, it's just all this perspective thing that the average 15-second memory span viewer just doesn't put together. And it's so easy to make this messaging that means fuck all, but it sounds really important. And it's an art form. And, you know, again, who does it benefit? White people.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out why people didn't care about the Kurds when they were being attacked, a year or two ago, and still, constantly. I didn't understand why people didn't care about Syria or Sudan or any of or Palestine or any of these other places. But now I know they got to be white. They got to be white Christians. If they're not white Christians, nobody cares about them. Let them get invaded. Let them get occupied. Let them live in an apartheid state. Who cares? But as soon as Ukraine, everyone's opening their own houses to them. Let the Nazis come live with me and my children. Blows my mind.
See, that's the other thing too. It's when it's not white people. It's basically, oh, well, I helped elect the people who are responsible for bombing you out of your own country. And no, you can't fucking come here. No, we don't want you here. That's the biggest what the fuck. You know, this is the issue that Great Britain went through a couple decades ago. It's like finally, after saying that the sun never sets on the British Empire, well, all these people, now they're all in your backyard. Oh, you don't like it? Gee, how did that happen? You know, funny what, you know, again, it's ultimate fuck-a-boot, find out.
Yeah, I really think if Ukrainian refugees come over here, they need to be quarantined and vetted while sitting in concentration camps with their children until everybody else is cleared out of those camps that have been in there already. You know, let's go in order.
Nah, the order means something else.
Wow, I see what you did there. But yeah, it's just disgusting, man. It's so disgusting how racist and these scum people are. Democrats and Republicans are just cheering for Russia, a white nation. There you go. The Democrats are cheering for Ukraine, a white nation.
No,
and
it's
all
just
the other
sad.
places that are being invaded and bombed and attacked and occupied. Who cares? Those people aren't like us. Like we were talking about before the show, there was that journalist that said, these people aren't like people in Sudan. They're civilized. They're like your neighbors.
Yeah.
How racist is that, dude?
Very.
Imagine if these were MAGAs saying the same thing the Biden people are saying. They'd be like, oh, see how racist they are? We can't allow this. But it's their guys, so it's okay this time. Now they're just knocking anybody with support for Russia. Why can't we support none of the above? Not the UK, not Russia, not Ukraine, not the US, not Canada, not any of these stupid, not Turkey, definitely not Turkey, not Saudi, not China, not any of these nations or governments. We need to be supporting the people against their governments, their own governments. Like, I don't care who's ruling me and occupying me and oppressing me. I want to eliminate them. Don't care what nation it is. They need to be eliminated.
I mean, basically, I just kind of throw coming at it from the other side at people, and usually that's it. They don't want to talk anymore. And I just find the easiest way to shut this down about how special, for some unknown reason, Ukrainians are all of a sudden in this common scenario is, well, wait a minute. Nobody gave a fuck about Yemeni. Nobody gave a fuck about Syrians. Nobody gives a fuck about Ethiopians or Sudanese. Nobody certainly gives a fuck about Palestinians. So why should I give a fuck about Ukrainians?
That's been my position, because I don't.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is this should not happen to anybody. But just the such obvious, completely different world that it is. And the other difference is all those other countries I mentioned, guess where the weapons are all coming from for that?
I bet I could tell you.
Yeah. They're coming from the U.S., Britain, Canada, Israel, France, Germany. It's our team. But, Russia's using their own weapons. And it's them. So
we got LAPD meeting with Turks for some reason, talking about we need to have more trust between. Why does LAPD need to meet with Turkish consulates or whoever the hell they are? I don't even understand that. But these are our allies. These people are oppressors. They're just as bad as any other country.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, that's the one of the few honest and righteous things Trump said when they said Vladimir Putin's a killer. And he's like, America's full of killers. It's always had killers. And you know what I mean? What's the difference? That's real. This country has no moral ground to stand on to tell anybody what to do or not to do. None. Like, that's the most hypocritical thing I've ever heard. Russia, you can't do this. You can't invade a sovereign nation. What are you thinking? Have you looked at your history? I mean, they got things here talking about invading a sovereign nation. They got places here called reservations where they take the indigenous people and make them live in horrible conditions without even having clean water in many cases. What about that sovereign nation? No, that's something different. They're not white.
Yep.
You want to give power to the people of sovereign nations, then hand this government over to the indigenous people who were here before the white people came and slaughtered them in one of the biggest genocides in history. One of the things that inspired Hitler the most. These people are sick, man. Democrats beating the drums of war. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I don't think they're going to like what they might get.
The other thing that's, just makes it really hard for me to tolerate what's said when shit like this goes down is everybody makes it sound, or tries to make it sound, like this is all just in the last couple years. Somebody got pissed off, and look what happened since, No,
this is like decades in the making, man.
Of course. This goes back to 1990 when the Soviet Union disintegrated. That's how far back this goes. And there were people back then that said, so these are the conditions you're leaving this in? Okay, well, sooner or later, there's going to be a war here.
Yeah, it was when they were communists before they became capitalists.
Well, no, I mean, I remember back when they drew up the breakup, that Ukraine would leave the Soviet Union, and Ukraine surrendered all their nuclear weapons, which made sense. But the Soviet Navy and the Soviet Air Force was allowed to stay in Crimea. And it wasn't just an outpost. It's a major, major amount of military. And with that comes, up to 100,000 people who support those bases. This is just like when the U.S. finally closed down Clark Air Force Base and Subic Bay Naval in the Philippines. It was massive. It's basically moving an American city out of another country. So, I mean, when they agreed to let what was now Russia stay there, this is a problem. This is Ukraine now. Why is all this here? But that's what they agreed to. And, that was 1990. So, I mean, you go back to 10 years ago, where did the shit start in Ukraine? Right there.
Yeah. It's I just don't understand the people's response to it.
They react.
You should say no war ever. But they don't say that. They're like, well, if our country does it, it can't be wrong.
Well,
and I'm sure there's Russians that are the same way.
Well, of course there are.
I mean, you see the protests. They're not all out there. There's people cheering them on, just like there's people here that cheer us on this stupid country every time they attack something. Well, they're doing it for their own good. They're doing it to stabilize the region. They're doing it to give people democracy. Why don't you give us democracy before you worry about somebody else?
Because there's no money in that.
Isn't that what America first means?
No, America first means we're going to make money everywhere we can. That's what it means.
Yeah, America first means more than that. It's a racist slogan.
And this is the other thing too. All these countries just lining up to say they're giving all these weapons to Ukraine. Yeah, they're just giving them. Ukraine has probably run up $10 billion of debt in the last week for all these arms that they're getting. You're dealing with Europe and with North America. There is no fucking free lunch.
Yeah, you'd be better off dealing with Satan.
So I mean, nothing is honest about it. Yes, it sucks. Yes, it's actually happening. No, it should not be happening. But there's a lot more people to blame than ex-KGB guy. There's a lot more people to blame. But that doesn't work for our propaganda.
I just don't like the blatant. I mean, like I said, we have concentration camps in this country. And nobody's worried. As soon as Biden got elected, it's okay. Lock them up. Lock the kids up. But now they're like, but not the white kids. We're going to bring them into our homes. That's what pisses me off the most. This double standard. It almost enrages me, man. It does enrage me. These people are just scum. Americans are scum for the most part. There's people I wouldn't even imagine that are just cheering on Nazis.
But I mean, it's very easy for the chattering class to just suddenly pick up some fucking torch like open arms to Ukrainian immigration. But, that's just for clicks. That's just to make noise. That's to generate something.
What is businesses are doing it, Glenn? what is that? I can't think. The house where you rent the house and have a big party in the house.
What,
Um,
B&B?
yeah, they're doing all they can to open up homes all over the world for Ukrainians now.
Oh, why not? Their public relations has taken a shit kicking in the last couple years. So I mean, they're not really the ones at risk. It's the people who own all these goddamn houses that they're saying they're going to open up, right?
Yeah, but the people want. I mean, I've just on social media. I keep seeing people saying, how do you open up your house to the refugees? What do you do? How can we house them?
Tell
They
them to
can't
go
solve
ask their
they can't
church.
solve a homeless crisis here, but they can. Yeah, let's put them all in Joe Osteen's mega church.
For
Problem
sure.
solved.
Yeah. There's there's probably an entry fee of about $25,000, but sure, come on down.
Yeah, it's just like if you're gonna be against something, be against something. Don't be against something unless it's your guy doing it and the people are white. It just
Well,
doesn't.
I'm
It's so hypocritical. It's so. That's why when I'm arguing with Republican assholes, I never bring up the Democrats. I just argue about their. And when I'm arguing with Democrats, I don't bring up the Republicans because why? I'm
you
telling you
don't
how
have
shit
to.
your people are, and then they're like, "Oh, well, then you're obviously not critical of the." No, let me talk to them. I'll be critical of them. But when I'm talking to you, I'm gonna be critical of your people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's how they need to do it, man. They need to be like critical all the time of any war, of any occupation, of any brutality.
But I mean, what I was going to say is that's all fine to have this public campaign of let's welcome all the Ukrainians, but there's been serious Russian immigration to the United States since around that same 1990. And generally, they seemed somehow to have a little bit more change in their pocket. And let's just be polite and say they have managed to establish themselves in a few industries in the U.S. So you think dumping, 10, 20,000 Ukrainians into the U.S. just anywhere you want isn't going to create some other new problem? It's just so easy to jump on a fucking bandwagon and push your pom-poms till the next corner, then you get off and just disown yourself from the whole issue. I mean, it's quite easy to say this would be great and we should do this. Have you thought about it? No. It's like picking a fucking sports team. It's just dumb.
Super dumb. I'm just fed up with it. Oh man, I just took a dab.
It's hard to watch some of the video you see, your border crossings or something. I saw something where there were two Ukrainian women, both in their 20s, with children under 2 years old. They're going to Poland. Their husbands stayed at home and they're now conscripted. Yeah, that's hard to see. But where's all the footage exactly the same in Sudan, in Ethiopia, in Yemen, in Libya? Where is it everywhere else? What's the difference here? Oh, I can't quite figure it out.
It's just mind numbing. I just don't know why people are this racist. Blatantly, man. Blatantly. I think when is the State of the Union? Today or tomorrow? Where Biden's going to speak about how awesome a job he's doing. It's coming up. I thought that's what the Nazi truckers were trying to get out to Washington for, but I don't know. I've been dealing with a lot of bullshit, working and everything. I haven't had time to worry about what Nazi truckers and Biden are doing.
Yeah, it's just background noise.
I was worried about them when I thought they were going to come to LA, but like during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, how was that stupidity?
What the Super Bowl, it sucked. And the Olympics are coming next, so I mean, they displaced a bunch of people. They brutalized poor people that were fans of the sport. They wanted to celebrate in the streets that night. There was cops everywhere. They had roadblocks all over the place. Checkpoints, sorry. You know, the same people who are like, the mask is a violation of my freedom, trying to get me vaxxed. You're trying to take away my freedoms. They're totally cool with cops blocking off a road and checking every car that comes through.
Yep.
That's not a violation of their freedom because blue lives are doing it, and those people matter.
Apparently.
Unless they get in their way, then they don't matter. Then they'll kill them, which is cool with me. Like I said before, I never had a problem with the rioting, you know, tearing up the Capitol and threatening to eliminate politicians. I had a problem with what they were doing it for. You know, their ideology behind it, what their end goal was. I didn't have a problem with them doing it. I don't have a problem with shutting a whole country down if you're doing it for the right reasons. But these people, they're doing it to make fascism, you know, happen even quicker, more brutal. They're not on the other side like, we want to get rid of this and give all the power to the people. If that was the case, they wouldn't have Trump flags. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be voting for a specific party. They'd be like, here, we're here for the people. We're going to free the people from the detention centers. We're going to eliminate the government in our borders. We're going to make sure everybody here is fed. There's not going to be anyone homeless on the streets ever again. But they're not doing that. They're like, oh, we want to violate more rights and have a theocracy, basically. As they talk crap about people in other countries under another religion want to have a theocracy, like ISIS or whatever. What's the difference?
Yeah, you notice.
Theocracies are all terrible, man. It doesn't matter which religion's running it. It's bad. And I don't want to be under none of your theocracies.
Yeah, you noticed how all the labeling of radical fundamentalist seems to have pretty much disappeared in the last few years?
Yeah.
I mean, for the longest time, that was the only way anybody talked about Iran. But since Trump came along, they seem to have dropped that narrative. Must be because something's too close to something else.
I still hear it. I just think it is less, but I hear it. But I think they're so blind. They really see it as two different things. Just like the Islamic extremists are the same way.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, when we do it, it's for God. It's right. We have moral authority. It's the same way on the other side.
Yeah.
You know, the Klan thinks they have moral authority and they're anointed by God and all this and that too. There's no difference. Just the religion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just they're all connected to the same original book, right?
Oh, and in case anybody's not aware, the Pope has endorsed Ukraine.
He is what?
Endorsed Ukraine in their side of it.
Really?
Yep.
Isn't Russia Catholic?
Well, yeah.
I mean, predominantly?
Yeah. Well, the European part of Russia, yes, definitely. The Asian part, no. It's Muslim. But the thing is, Ukraine, that's a Catholic country.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to back
Big
his.
time. I mean, you might as well go to Portugal if you're looking for Catholics, like seriously.
Yeah. See, that's just, I don't know. I don't, I just don't understand these religions at all. Stay
But
out of
there you
politics. Just stay the hell out of politics.
exactly.
Do your
I
little
mean,
voodoo crap on the side. Believe in your magic. Leave the normal people alone and stay the fuck out of politics. It's really that simple, and that's for every religion.
that's exactly right. And this is the thing about the Pope endorsing Ukraine. There have been popes in the past that in the same circumstance would say something along the lines of, this is terrible, we hate to see this, nobody should be having this happen, blah, 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 fellow man, blah, blah. Everybody cut it out. I have to go do something now. But this guy, he comes flat out and says, Ukraine is right, Russia's wrong. That's political.
Definitely.
And this guy is the spiritual leader for over 1 billion people. So, shit is not like it used to be in any way, shape, or form. The rules are different for everything now.
Yeah, I don't know. The one thing I do know is I can't get through to these people. Like, I don't know. I have decades of trying. The Democrats always depress me, dude. Because you would think that they're like different, like they just don't understand how they are. And once you explain it to them, like you're being racist and you're being fascist and you shouldn't do this, and they're going to be like, yeah, you're right. But no. I'm always wrong. It's just like everything they were just complaining about. Everything they were just complaining about for 4 years straight, going on and on and on and on. Now they're cool with all those things.
Okay, I got something that may match up to that. So remember when LeBron left Cleveland and went to Miami, and everybody in Cleveland hated him? And then what happened after that? When he went back, then
And
he
then they were cool with
was,
him again.
well, yeah. Then it was like, oh, he saw the light, he came back to us. They loved him even more. And then what did he do? He fucking left again. It's the same bullshit.
I just don't understand how people can vote in this country or any country. But for me, this country, I don't understand it. Like, look at the last time. What did they have? They had Trump or Biden. How could you choose either one of those?
Well, that's not necessarily the problem of the electoral process. That's the problem of the parties.
Well, that's the problem, is the parties are the people. The people will back the parties. These people are cheering on war right now because it's their guy. If it was the other guy, they'd be like, oh, no. No war. They'd be in the streets protesting. But you know who would have still voted for it? Was Biden. Because that guy's always loved war. Like we said before, he had one war he didn't vote for. And then he regretted it afterwards. He said, publicly went out on an apology tour for not voting for the war. That dude's a warmonger. He's a racist. He wrote some of the Patriot Act. He authored the Clinton crime bill. Man, he's a terrible person.
Well, Biden is a product of the old status quo, which was everything before Trump. It's nobody got into the Oval Office without having paid their dues in some way. And, that's why Hillary thought she was entitled to it. But as soon as Biden showed up, oh, yeah, sure, okay, sure, yeah, we can sell that.
You want to hear something funny? Do you know who the last American president to have been in the military ever was?
Just hang on, let me think.
You're gonna think on Google, aren't you?
No. I'm just going through the timeline. Okay, he served. Now, this is what, active or reserve or what?
Just to join the military.
Well, W was in the fucking National Guard.
Yeah, he's the last one. He was in the air, some air. I
Yeah,
think.
Air National Guard, Texas.
Yeah. So all these tough, Mr. Drone Obama, no.
No.
Trump
Trump.
definitely no. Bone spurs. And
Yeah.
Biden had all these deferments too.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I don't care. I would never join their military. I don't respect people who do. But my point is, you're the president. You want to go start shit and you talk all tough and you have this military to back you up. And that's something you wouldn't even dare to join. The thing that you know what I mean? It just blows my mind. It just seems so hypocritical.
This is the other thing that's really, I just can't comprehend it, because what we're seeing now in Ukraine is there's an awful lot being said positively for the president and for all these well-known Ukrainians who could get the fuck out of Dodge if they wanted. No, they're staying. They're going to fight. You see these basically high school kids and old men being issued automatic rifles. And, this is like, oh my God, what heroes they are.
Man.
But when you see this in Gaza or in Tikrit or in Basra or in Kabul or Kandahar, it's, look at those fucking terrorists. What is so different? What is so different? They want to defend their shit. What is so different? What is so different? It just blows my mind.
Yeah, it's these people. I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get why as soon as there's some white people, they're like, "Oh, let's do everything we can within our power to protect them." I think I tweeted a week or two ago that we should send LAPD and the sheriffs over there because they're military. They got military equipment already. They have more funding than all these other militaries. Let us have a break for a minute. You'd go deal with these scum.
So you better be careful, or somebody's going to suggest that the LA sheriff should join NATO.
Wow. See, that's disgusting, but I hope it never comes true.
It could be a jurisdictional issue, though.
Man, it's so just disgusting.
And the other hypocrisy is, it was only a couple weeks ago that we were hearing about how Boris Johnson is probably going to get away with stealing 2/3 of Venezuela's gold reserves and all this other bullshit. But yet now, within 2 days, we even have the Swiss banks saying that they're going to freeze stuff on Russia.
It's like how many, like 30 or 50 people they're going to block, like big wigs over there, they're going to block their accounts.
But it's just amazing what that straw that breaks their back is. I mean, the Swiss banks, who still have who knows how much hidden that was put there by the Nazis. And they still ain't giving it up or talking about it or nothing. But this comes along and it's like, yeah, fuck all that. That's it. What do you want to know? It's amazing. It's such an opportunity, it seems, for some.
I don't know. I was hearing that any Ukrainian who wants a AK could just go over and to some spot and be like, "Hey, I want to fight," and they'll give them weapons and ammo and all that.
Yep.
Man, I'm hoping some of the anti-fascists over there are stocking up and maybe in the middle of all the drama, wipe out some of the fascists while you got the chance. Blame it on the Russians.
Well, there's going to be civil conflicts. I mean, and where they're showing this is way in the west. This is nowhere near Luhansk or Donetsk. Because, that's the other thing too. There's legitimate evidence and claims that those regions in the east of Ukraine that, yes, have Russian support, but they've been getting shelled for 8 years by the Ukrainian government. And nobody gives a shit. They talk about this conflict that's cost 14,000 lives. Yeah, but they don't tell you who those 14,000 are. Most of them are Russian descent Ukrainians in the East who want to join Russia, and Ukraine is not into it. So, I mean, it's not like this is just, like I said, this didn't just all happen in the last couple fucking weeks. This is years. But, whatever. I'm not going to get into the politics of it because my position isn't popular.
I mean, you're in Canada, but our the president here in the U.S., Biden now, this fool has millions of bodies he's responsible for around the world, man.
Yep.
Over the past 40 years. He has bodies in the U.S. he's responsible for. It's disgusting. Biden has lots of bodies in the U.S. he's responsible for. It's just like this guy's a horrible person, but everybody's... Why can't you say Putin's a terrible person, horrible, horrible person, Biden's a terrible person, horrible, horrible person? Just go down the line, you know what I mean? Why do you have to choose one to support? Why can't people just not support any of them? Remember Richard Pryor, None of the Above?
Yeah.
What was that movie? Brewster's Millions. You'd be like, vote for none of the above. Yeah, people need to be like, support none of the above. Be against all of them equally, because they're all equally as bad. And that goes for politicians within your own countries too. It's so wrong. We're going to support this one or that one. Trudeau's horrible. His opponent's horrible.
Yeah, Trudeau is the least horrible.
But see, here's the thing. Trump talked a lot of horrible shit, and he did a lot of horrible shit, but we knew Biden was going to do horrible shit.
But he doesn't talk about it.
But we know, we've seen this record. Like, who are you going to vote for in that situation? There's nobody. There's no right answer. But these people still went out. Vote like your life depends on it. How much different would it be if Trump was there? It would be no difference.
Well,
just more outrage by the people, which is better, in my opinion. If the people are opposing who's in power, that's always better. But they're not doing it now.
Well,
the
I'm
people
not
who are
so
doing it are the racists, and nobody's going to jump in with them. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I'm not so sure about that as far as something like Ukraine goes. I mean, if Trump was reelected, Putin probably could use tactical nuclear weapons, and the U.S. wouldn't fucking do anything. So, yeah, it can always be worse. This is the whole point of the shock doctrine. Just always give an uglier choice than what works. And
That's
then
true,
people think they're getting a break.
But you're not. That's my point.
No, you're not. But
you can't support one or the other. Support none of the above. Neither. If these people out here, just in the U.S., care less about Ukraine, just as the people in the U.S. think Trump or Biden care more about them, neither one of them cares about you. If you don't have millions of dollars, neither one of them cares about you. Unless they can use you for something, for a campaign ad or something, or a vote.
Yeah, and that's temporary.
They don't care about you beyond that. What can you do for them? That's what all they care about you. What can you do for them? And most people, it's nothing. And that's every politician, even your favorite politicians. That's that. What can you do for me?
Today.
It's just today, yeah. Like Jody, what have you done for me lately? But none of them do anything for us. They'll throw us some crumbs here and there, and they'll say a lot of good shit they don't ever follow up on. They're liars and they're scum. I don't know why everybody doesn't get this. We're going to beat them with local politics. No, you're not. They're scum too. Their ambitions, a lot of them are to be the scum, the big scum, but they just don't have what it takes, or they haven't got up there yet. Man, they all grifters. And these
And what
people
is
pick one.
And what's the general situation in Southern California with regard to the pandemic now? Is BA2 starting to be
It's over.
showing
Man.
up?
What pandemic? That's Canada. We beat it when Biden was elected.
Yeah, okay, haha.
They're going to cut out. From what I hear, they're ending all mask mandates as soon as possible. They want to get the kids maskless back in school as soon as possible. They're doing nothing, man. They're doing nothing.
What are the numbers like?
I think they've come down in the past couple of weeks, as expected. They're gonna keep coming down more. This is my guesstimate from what we've seen in the past 2 years. And with the flu and everything else, they're gonna go down, down, down. In summer, it'll be like pretty low. And then when flu season and COVID season kicks back up, it's gonna be bad again. That's my prediction. If I'm correct, I'm a prophet. If I'm wrong, delete this. No, it's just, that's what generally happens, right? And so they're going to play it up until they have to worry about it again. They're going to play it down until they have to worry about it again, and then they won't play it up because that'll be getting closer and closer to the next big election. It's just stupid, man.
Yeah, I was just curious to see what they're doing down there.
Yeah, nobody takes it seriously.
Well, there's going to be a price to pay for that.
There's a lot of stores, like smaller stores you go in, and people ain't even wearing masks that run the place. There's people in there all maskless. And masks are optional and outside of LA, like in LA County, but not in the city, I believe. And they're not asking for vaccination proof. It's just like, wear a mask or don't. We don't care.
Well, that's going to guarantee that it's going to be a very long time until it's gone.
Of course.
I don't know what the fucking point of that is, but hey, whatever.
I don't understand why they didn't lock it down when they had the chance. Keep paying people, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Now we see you got all this money to send to Ukraine, but you can't give people a stimulus here.
Yeah.
It's just like, people should be rioting in the streets about that. Like, oh, you're going to send weapons to these white people overseas, but you ain't sending weapons to any other oppressed people around the world. You're not even giving us a stimulus here. Screw you. Burn every Capitol building down. I just can't comprehend the mentality that we're cool with this. well, you send all our tax dollars to Ukraine. We'll try to find ways to give them housing. We don't want them in those pesky concentration camps. They're white.
But then, you know, the other angle of that, as usual, is the bigger of a immediate crisis they can make this, the more it distracts from what caused it. You know, it's just so reactionary and be emotionally overwhelming that people forget all about what happened before it to cause this.
Yeah, wait till the politicians start doing the Ukrainian photo ops. Just give it time. You might even have Biden over there standing.
Oh, not for a while. Oh, no.
Oh, not
no,
now,
no.
but I'm saying before the next big election.
Oh, definitely. Oh, we'll have lots of time for that kind of shit.
He'll have his mission. I mean, it's planned ahead. They're already plotting this stuff, man. They might be getting ready to Photoshop him into stuff already.
I'm just finding it amazing how quickly the world can gang up on one country in the world markets and just completely kick the shit out of them. And think how easily this could have been done in the past against other countries if there was the political will.
Like, oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, just from the point of view of professional sports, there's no Formula One race in Russia this year. They went from hosting the World Cup to being kicked out of the World Cup in less than one cycle.
Yeah, the Russian football team isn't going to be playing, right?
Yeah, there are countries in Europe that are refusing to play them. Even at a neutral site, they will not play them. Their club teams are going to be kicked out of the Champions League and Europa League. And for those soccer teams over in Europe, between the TV money from those competitions and the extra merchandising and the part of the purse they get, it's a big part of their revenue. And not only that, with somebody like Putin in charge, who's an authoritarian, the image of the virile Russian male, a lot of that, just like over here, is done through sports. And they're not going to be standing on any podiums. They're not going to be lifting any trophies. They're not even going to be at the competitions. So that's a huge loss that nobody's really talking about yet. Yeah. And who's going to step up and take that F1 race now? Don't be surprised if Formula One is in Ukraine next year. Don't be surprised one fucking bit.
Yeah, a lot of things are going to be in Ukraine eventually because of this.
But until they deal with those huge Russian bases in Crimea, and if the world finally accepts, well, the U.S., basically, I should say, the West, with their media, accepts that the Crimea is now Russia, until they get that fucking settled, there's nothing going to happen here. Because those military bases simply are not moving. It's too late. They're not going anywhere. So, deal. Get it fucking done.
I don't know why people don't see government are the problems. All the governments.
Yep.
I don't know, man. It's like it's so simple. That's why I keep saying basically the same thing in a different way. People just don't get it. You're backing flags and governments and religions. You got to back the people. See, this is the thing. When I said why don't they just, they got concentration camps now. They don't need to house the Ukrainians. I don't think anyone should be in a concentration camp. You see what I'm saying? That was my point. It was sarcasm. But I didn't want people to be like, oh, he wants everyone in concentration camps. It was sarcasm. Like, nobody should be in one. Even if they're not white, they shouldn't be in one. So, I don't know. It's just, it's such a double standard, and it's so blatant. Like, just look at the news. There's a couple people I saw on Twitter before I stopped looking at that account, that were listing all these racist news articles and interviews and talk shows. They were saying how we need to back Ukraine because they're better than the this or that, or they're white. They're like us. One of them said they're like us. They're like your neighbors. They're not like these other places. I can't think of all the quotes right now, but yeah, it's just that bothers me a lot, Glenn. Like the propaganda they pushing is really blatant, and it's really racist. And I don't know why more people don't see that.
Well, I think the way things have gone the last, say, 5 years is there is an awful lot of a much higher level of desensitization against the blatant white is right type messaging, you know? Like, it's been so loud for an extended period, and, you know, there's really been no consequence for it, you know? So, is it that a lot of people are tuning out? You know? I mean, that's the other side of this massive disinformation campaign. You got to remember what the CIA always said. When people believe nothing, then we've been successful. So, you know, is that part of it?
Probably to an extent, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure the CIA is probably involved in some stuff, but a lot of these things are just wackadoos on YouTube with a big following, spreading these weird conspiracy theories. And then, I mean, because you got celebrities that are writing poems to Putin, and then you got celebrities that are like, I stand with Ukraine, I'd be over there and fighting with them if I didn't have to film this movie tomorrow. I mean, you know, there's this like, and they got these huge followings of people, so these people, man, people are just really tribal and stupid. Like,
yeah,
they have to have a team or something.
Yeah, I agree. In this day and age, the power of influence is acquired much too easily.
But like, do you know how many people I've heard say that Trump is the worst president in the history of the U.S.? I mean, we had presidents that committed genocide on a massive scale. We have presidents that have done so many horrible things, and this guy is the worst. He might be I don't even know if he's Reagan was pretty bad. Bush was pretty bad.
Well,
Trump is horrible, but I'm saying to call him the worst. Like, he doesn't have that many bodies under him like these cats do, you know? Sorry, go ahead.
No, but like, this is one of the problems with the way people take positions these days. Like, that's like saying, I like apples. There's like over 100 different types of apples grown in the world. And I don't like them all. I like most, you know, because I mean, to say he's the worst, if you break it down, if you want to talk about how blatantly they gave out money to their friends, yeah, he might be the worst ever. You want to talk about how many security protocols were broken because he wanted his friends around? Yeah, he's probably the worst. But if you talk about flat out, like you said, military incursion violence, no, he's not. That's the thing. Like, and this is so popular now. Just come out and put a fucking flag in the ground and say this. The sky is green. Change my mind, but I won't listen to you. It's just stupid. There's no detail. There's no reason. There's no background. There's no context. It's just, I went to Idiotville and all I got was this fucking t-shirt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it passes for information.
My point of view is if you are a U.S. president, you are a horrible, horrible, you are one of the worst people ever on the planet. But one of, and there might be
Yes.
millions of worse people on the planet throughout history. So you're one
But
of them.
that's an exclusive club of
Yeah.
fuckers. Yeah.
And that's how
For
I
sure.
feel about pretty much any president, prime minister, ruler, king, leader. They all
If you're in the game, you're a certain type of player.
Now here's a terrible person. You're in a terrible person club. People need to look at it like that. They need to look at these bankers and CEOs as scum, hoarders, You're the reason these people are living on the streets right here. Politicians, you know what I mean? Somebody on Twitter said, I like that Russians call their rich owners oligarchs. We should do that here, call billionaires oligarchs here too.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I saw that and I was like, well, yeah. But, it's not socially acceptable here.
Could just call them criminals because it should be illegal to have that much money hoarded while people are starving on the streets. If everybody had all their basic, human rights like shelter and food and water and a way to survive, then you can hoard money. But until then, come on, man. Because hoarding money is hoarding resources.
Yeah.
And that should be illegal. If there's people that need it, there's no way you need to hoard billions or trillions in some cases of dollars. That's ridiculous. Man, I don't know. I'm real fed up with this. I've been fed up with this for like 3 or 4 days now. All the BS propaganda, it's so blatant. I've seen it all before. Not in this situation, but they did very similar things during the Iraq War. They didn't have the white factor though, so it was the soldiers of the U.S. were the whites. And I think there were British soldiers too that were the whites, and they would hail the soldiers. And they're doing that with the Ukrainian thing too. I see all these great heroic soldiers, and they're making it look like their president is in there fighting the war right next beside the people, but he's not.
Well, all I can say is when somebody tells you repeatedly not to do something, and then you just keep smiling and nodding your head, and then you keep trying to do that thing anyway, sooner or later, they're going to get tired of telling you not to do it.
But they're in that mentality like you might be a bully, but we have bigger bullies backing us. That's how I think it is. You're just a closer bully. We got bigger bullies.
Well, it's just, again, there's another country that is paying the physical price for this big fucking game, as usual, and, there was all the talk about, oh, he better not go in, he better not go in, he better not go in. And then as soon as he goes in, then suddenly NATO comes to reality and is, well, he didn't enter a NATO country. And he's not fucking going to. So, I think this is part of how they're able to sell this outrage, is because NATO played this game like, you can't do that. But, legally, there's fuck all NATO could do about it. The only thing NATO could do is come out and publicly say, we will not seek Ukrainian membership in NATO. And whether this is a popular opinion or not, if NATO came out and said that today, this would be over. But they won't do that.
No.
So, hey, I'm just a Canadian dude, whatever.
Are your gas prices going up?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, they're warning, ours are way up. They're warning us it's going to get worse. They're like, people might have to think between food and gas. A gallon of milk or a gallon of gas.
No, this is just beautiful shock doctrine, Never let a disaster go to waste.
Yeah.
It's not like Russia is Saudi Arabia in the fucking oil market, okay?
Well, Biden had nicely asked that the oil manufacturers don't boost their prices and exploit this.
Yeah, okay.
He could have signed some kind of order that says if they do, they're going to go to jail. We're going to prosecute them like crazy. We're going to go after these big oil executives if they keep doing this. But he didn't do that. He just asked them, like, hey, you guys, knock it off.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, wink.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, man.
War profiteering is not cool, okay?
People are already broke. They're going to raise the price of gas and people got to get places. You know what that's going to do? Crime's going to go up.
Yep.
They don't understand that.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, we'll just give the police more funding, right?
Exactly.
Oh, wait, we're going to have all these weapons too soon, so hang on.
Hey, man, just keep winding it up.
And the people let it happen.
Well, the people are heavily, heavily distracted and or incapacitated.
Or
by choice, perhaps. Yeah, by choice.
I don't know. I think some people are fed that since they're like a little kid.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All through school, everywhere.
Absolutely. You look at some of the laws that these state legislatures are pushing through. Like, basically, you can't teach anything in school that came from later than 1930. It's just, what the fuck are you doing?
Well,
it's
here
ignorant.
they're fighting critical race theory, which they don't teach to kids. But here what they're doing is they're what they're calling critical race theory is just U.S. history.
Yeah.
Accurate U.S. history, and they don't want it taught.
Yep.
They don't want the kids to know anything other than America good, everything else bad. They don't want to hear about slavery or genocide or the brutality or the prison system or anything. Just the blatant racist way this country's always been. They don't want to hear about any of that. Because then they might not love America, and that's ridiculous, right? I think they just
You
don't want
know,
it to change. Like I was listening to that Canadian dude, and some of these people here, a lot of these people here, that's their greatest fear, that non-white people are going to become predominant, and if they take over, how are they going to treat the white people who have been treating them bad for so long? That's literally their fear. They say it.
yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
I don't know. And that's acknowledging that white people have treated people pretty bad in this country since its inception. But they don't see that as an admission. They're like, oh, we don't want to hear that. We don't want our kids to know the history, the real history of this country.
well,
Uh,
I mean, but there's a huge issue right there, though. I mean, I remember a time where, well, first of all, actual critical race theory, unless you're a second year law student in the United States, you're never going to see it because that's where it's taught. That's the only place. Nowhere
it's just
prior
a
to
buzzword.
that.
It's just a buzzword for history, I think, with them.
But that's what I mean. There was a point in time where people could not call what they're talking about critical race theory because it's not. Like you're saying, it's not. But yet everybody's allowed to call it that. That's like selling bananas, but you're selling them as apples. And everybody knows it's not, but that's what you keep calling it. You know, it's just, what the fuck, man? Why is this allowed? It's not critical race theory that Whitey's afraid of. It's the truth that he's afraid of.
Yeah, like some of these kids will be like, dang, our great great grandparents or our grandparents, depending on how old they are, went to picnics where they lynched somebody, burned them, and took body parts home as souvenirs. I'm telling you, people down south, that's probably what some of them are scared of. Like they're going to see how brutal our own ancestors were. And then some of them just celebrate that. They probably still have the body parts as souvenirs from their family heirlooms or whatever. It's disgusting.
You know, the machine rolls on. I don't know how far this thing in Ukraine is going to go. I mean, like I said, the way Russia's economy is being ground into dust in hours, not weeks, I don't know how much they can tolerate, you know? And I mean,
Yeah.
every little video you see from a protest in a city in Russia, okay, yes, they're out there protesting, but, you know, how many people understand what the population of Russia is? How many cities they have that are over a couple million people? Like, there's a lot. So,
Yeah.
are the protests really that big? I mean,
I
it's
hear
just
I hear
so
people
hard
out
to get
here
a real picture.
I hear people out here literally saying they're being attacked by the police and arrested for protesting. They're
They are.
shocked about it. Well, I agree they are. But why would you be shocked about that? That's what they do here. I didn't see anything that didn't look like stuff that goes down here.
But they have a different alphabet on their uniform, so it's bad.
ACAB That's like every nation. That's all ALL. That's what the A stands for, right?
Yeah.
The first A is all. It's not for American.
Could be.
Could be. Yeah, it could be for a lot of things, but all around the world, everywhere. And if there's other planets with alien cops, then they're included in that all.
Yes,
All.
I would think so.
All. Even Big Mac the cop in the McDonald's world. All.
It's been a long, long time since I've seen that character anywhere. I'm curious. When did they drop the cop at fucking Ronnie's?
I don't know.
Wow, I bet it was the 80s. That was not a good look.
Yeah, they dropped the whole character because it used to look like H.R. Puffin stuff or Lidsville
Yeah.
on their stuff, and then maybe it was just the times changed and that wasn't popular anymore.
Or maybe they didn't want to pay a copyright to somebody.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Do we have anything else we got to go over this week?
I have no idea what we just went over now, so no, I don't think so.
Basically, what we went over was these people are stupid. They need to stop supporting one or the other and not support any. We've said that 30 different. Well, I've said that 30 different ways in this one show today.
Alrighty.
And I've expressed my disgust with these people for that very same thing. That's pretty much, that sums up today's show from my point of view.
Okay, what he said.
So yeah, cool. Let's wrap it. Thank you, Glenn, and thank you everybody for listening. Except the Pope. Screw you, buddy. And that's that. I'm going to cut it off now.